Hey, welcome to Viking Preparedness. Welcome to Shofar Mountain, this part of it. I am Pastor Joe Fox. A lot of y'all watch this channel and channels like this, and you think to yourself, you dream to yourself, dare I say, you plan to someday do what we're doing, which is having a homestead, right? Creating a homestead. People have done it forever, and you know that, with the right amount of intestinal fortitude and a little bit of planning, you can get out on a piece of land and forge it, and make your way and try and live your life out here. And so to that end, you probably buy all the same magazines I do, you watch all the same channels I do, and you start thinking about things. Well, if you're living in suburbia, there are some things you can do, and one of those is start acquiring tools that you're going to need once you get out on your homestead. And so in this video, I'm going to talk to you guys about 5 vital tools for homesteading. They're based on my experience, right? My experience out here doing this, actually doing this, and in an environment like this, right? This is the Ozarks. It would also work, these tools that I'm going to recommend to you, in North South Carolina, southwestern Virginia, western Montana, stuff like that, right? Places with woods and things like that. If you're out in a wide prairie, maybe some of these tools won't really help you. Are there other tools that are important? Absolutely. Do other people have different ideas? Absolutely. But for us here at Shofar Mountain, these are 5 vital tools. So let's get to it. First one is this. A wheelbarrow, right? I got this wheelbarrow at Lowe's. I've had several wheelbarrows in my life, and one of the things that always goes bad on my wheelbarrows is the wood, right? The furniture down here. This isn't wood. This is steel. And I really like it for that reason. Now, you'll notice that wheelbarrows are big, right? They take up a lot of cubic feet. They're hard to store inside, especially on a homestead when you're building your inside. If you want space to store something, you're going to have to build it. And that's time and money and effort and stuff like that. So I store my wheelbarrows typically outside. It breaks one of my rules about storing tools outside, but I just don't have the space to store this puppy. And when I do it, I flip it upside down so that the rain doesn't collect in this bucket right here and start rusting everything out. Another thing I do when I have leftover paint, and you can see this one's brand new, right? But eventually they get old, the paint chips on it and stuff like that. I paint the leftover paint, like to clean the brush, I paint that on the wheelbarrow just to give it extra coats of paint before I clean the brush. What do I use this thing for? Everything. Hauling stuff. I haul firewood, I haul dirt, I haul gravel, big rocks. When we're moving big rocks, you could haul a deer, you could haul an injured member of your party, just thinking outside the box a little bit. These things are vital. A couple things I would recommend to you is store it upside down. Like I said, try and get steel furniture on it, metal furniture. It doesn't break as easy as the wood, I think. And then also, this is a run-flat tire. Man, I can't tell you the number of tires I've replaced on wheelbarrows before, and they seem to fail or go flat right when you need it the most. So a run-flat tire is cool. All right, so that's one vital tool, a wheelbarrow. And these are in no particular order. Here's the other one. I'll stand up. A shovel. Now, I've been using this one. Today's a day of prep. We've been working hard. But you're going to need a shovel on your homestead. There are all kinds of shovels. I own several of them. I really like this one. This has a fiberglass handle. Here, let me show you. See that? It's light. It's still strong. I don't know where I got it, in a hardware store somewhere. I think the handle was red at one time. You don't want to store it like this. You want to store your tools clean. There's lots of ways to do that. But what I'm going to do is stick it in my pond for a little bit, and then I'm going to dig it in and out of a gravel pile before I put it away, and that'll clean it up good. There's things where people store buckets. They'll have buckets or a bin of sand, and they'll put their used motor oil in there, and then you just take your tools and go in there before you hang them up. That'll work. But the bottom line is, just don't store these outside. Don't leave this laying around in the dirt or in the mud or leaned up against the outside of your barn where it's going to rust. You spend good money for your tools. You want to save them, right? You want to have them when you need them. If you do have wooden handles, go ahead and, put, what is that called? It's not neat's foot oil, is it? Yeah, I'm getting away from wooden handles. I think it's neat's foot oil. Rub oil on your wooden handles. That helps them out a little bit. But wooden handles, in my experience, just break when you don't need them to. We have 3 shovels here on Shofar Mountain, and if I was a really good photographer, I'd already have them here. They're made by Fiskars, and they're like super shovels. It's one piece of steel, right? They're awesome. They're indestructible. It's the shovel to go through the apocalypse with, and it has some good features, like a good place to rest your foot when you're digging. It is one solid piece of steel. It's not going to break on you, but man, they're heavy. Right? That's a young, strong man shovel. I like this one. It's light, has a good light handle on it. But whatever, you're going to need a shovel, and you're going to need a full-size shovel. So think about that. Another thing on the homestead, you're going to have critters. You're either going to have critters you're raising and or critters you're not raising that are trying to eat what you're growing, right? And so one thing you're going to need right here is a Polepounder. Bam. These things are invaluable. Could you pound a steel T-post with a sledgehammer? Sure, you can do it with a rock too. I've done it with both. But this sure makes the job easier. And if you're doing any kind of serious homesteading, you're going to be driving some T-post, and you're going to want one of these. I really can't give you any special indicators about it. I don't like the ones with the foam handles on it to protect your hands. I wear leather gloves when I do this. When you buy it, they come in all different weights. Get one that you can do this with many times, mounting up and down. You know, if you get a really heavy one, it might wear you out. Of course, it reminds me of that line in the 13th Warrior. "This is too heavy, I can't swing it. Grow stronger." I paint most of my tools black and yellow. That's just so I can identify my tools from everybody else's when we throw a bunch of stuff in the back of a truck or something. But yeah, you're going to want a Polepounder. So get one. Oh yeah, an interesting little aside. You know SWAT teams, when they attack a house, they have those battering rams, and they knock the front door in, and the guys go piling in. The original one of those battering rams was designed by an enterprising young SWAT officer out of one of these, and he just filled it with concrete, and he said, "Hey, check this out. When we swing this thing at the door, it knocks the door in." And now, of course, they're purpose built, but this is the original, was one of these full of concrete. So there you go. All right, something else you're going to need, let me sit that down, is, let me get the camera around, a chainsaw. Yes, you are going to need a chainsaw. Now, we use chainsaws for what? To cut wood. What do we use wood for? To heat our homes, to cook with. We're soon going to have a bathhouse that we heat the water with wood. And so wood is vital. And, you know, today I had to clear a road. A tree fell across one of our roads, and I had to get that out of the way. And so I use a chainsaw. I've learned some things about chainsaws, and I do not claim by any means to know everything there is to know about chainsaws. But this is what I do know. Get yourself a steel, you know, right here, or a Husqvarna chainsaw. That's what you're going to want. Don't get a Poulan. Don't buy one of those cheap ones. I know these are expensive. There's a reason for that, right? It's because they work and they run, and you buy one of those cheap ones and they're not going to work. So save your pennies until you can afford to get you a real chainsaw. A couple tricks, and again, I am not a chainsaw guy. There are chainsaw guys on YouTube. There are real and gals that know what they're doing more than me. But I've learned a couple things. This bar right here, it comes off and you can flip it both ways. Upside down, it prevents your bar from getting worn out. So you rotate it every now and then. Something that has just happened here at Shofar Mountain in the last 2 weeks. Let me close in on it here. Let's get this in here. We have lost 5 of these nuts on various saws in the last 2 weeks. It drives me crazy. I'm going to go buy a whole bunch of extra ones, but if one of you chainsaw people out there knows a trick to prevent that from happening, other than check it all the time, which is what we're going to do, yeah, I'd love to hear it in the comments section. But yeah, we lost these, so I'm going to buy a couple more, probably 10, just so we have some for everybody's saw, if it happens again. Now, of course, when you buy a chainsaw, you're going to need all the stuff that goes with it, right? You're going to need a little gas can to mix up your special gas. You're going to need a helmet and the earplugs, face mask, gloves, the tool, chaps. You know, wedges are nice. You know, you're going to need all that stuff. But the base tool is a chainsaw, and you're going to need to save your money for that. If you can get it with a case, I recommend that, because you're going to be tossing your chainsaw around in the back of a pickup truck and going somewhere, and it just protects your investment a little bit better. I'm just learning now how to maintain this puppy. It's been running forever despite my lack of maintenance on it. Like, you know, cleaning out the air filter. What a concept, right? But yeah, get yourself a chainsaw. So that's a wheelbarrow, a shovel, a pole pounder, a chainsaw, and then the final tool in the 5 vital tools to running a homestead, according to Pastor Joe Fox, is one of these. This is called a splitting maul, right? It's kind of like a wedge, right? Here's what it looks like with a hammer on the back. You can tell this one has been abused, but it's still going. This one has a fiberglass handle. It broke here. This one's really about ready to be replaced. And why is it all broken? Because people got tired and missed, you know, what they were aiming at. And this damage right here was done by a well-meaning brother who said, I'll split that wood for you. And I come back and my tool looks kind of bad. You know, but you're going to want one of these. I wish I had one of the brothers here right now. He has the best splitting maul known to man. That thing, it might be made by Fiskars. I'm not sure. I'll find out. If you keep bugging me in the comments, I'll let you know. But the wood just explodes when you hit it with his. This one, you know, you got to use a little bit of force on it. They come in different sizes and weights. I think this one's 6 or 8 pounds. But they work great. You know, you can also like hit the wood and then hit the back of this thing with a sledgehammer and use it like a splitting wedge. But you need it to split your firewood. You don't just cut firewood, you have to split it and let it dry. And then, you know, you store it in a purpose-built, high-speed wood storage shelter like this one that I built, so that it can dry and stay out of the rain that's starting to come down, so you have dry wood when you need it. But you do need it split to burn correctly. So, yeah, those are the 5 tools, according to Pastor Joe Fox, that you need for homesteading. If you don't have some, go ahead and get them now. Store them in your garage so you have them when you need them. All right, I'll see you out there.